The federal government's temporary foreign workers program is under a lot of scrutiny today, all because of a story that started here at CBC News. An RBC employee told us the bank brought in workers from India to replace dozens of Canadians. Now workers at other banks are saying the same thing happened to them. That story is putting the spotlight on a court case in BC today. Two unions there are accusing a mining company of hiring Chinese workers instead of Canadians. We'll have more on that in a minute. But first, Amanda Pfeffer is in Ottawa with more on the temporary foreign workers program.
The spotlight is on this program. It's been around since 1973, and really it was supposed to, it was aimed at one category in particular, high-skilled workers. We're talking about professors and doctors and people like that. There were categories for agricultural workers, domestic workers, but really the bulk of the workers were in this high-skill area. There was a major change in the program in 2002, however, and they introduced this low-skilled worker program, and suddenly we saw an influx of a new kind of worker. We saw workers in the service industry, for restaurants, manufacturing, in resource extraction, in the construction industry, and as this story highlights, in the IT sector. Now, in 2006, there was another change to the program that also complicated things. They introduced a fast tracking for employers to get this permit ultra fast in the program was called Regional Occupation Under Pressure, and it targeted Alberta and British Columbia particularly, and they saw enormous growth in temporary foreign workers during since 2006. Let's look at some of the numbers, though. In 2012, Citizen and Immigration Canada reported more than 300,000 temporary foreign workers. It's a threefold increase since in the last decade. And look at some of the cities in particular since 2008. Toronto has seen a rise of 60%. Montreal, 87% increase in the number of foreign workers, and also Atlantic Province is more than 80%. So we've seen an escalating in the number of temporary foreign workers in this country, accusations that this program is now used to help the labor for employers be more flexible with workers, not to take advantage of skills that Canadians don't have. And again, another change in this program took place just last year, which should accelerate things even more. They allowed employers to hire temporary foreign workers and pay them 15% less than Canadian workers. And so, Amanda, what is Ottawa saying about all of this today? Well, we've just heard from Kelly Leitch, Parliamentary Secretary for the Ministry of Human Resources and Skills Development, also the Ministry of Labour. And she says that it says in the budget 2013 that they are going to take a closer look at this program. Let's have a listen to Kelly Leitch.
We want Canadians to have the first crack at those Canadian jobs, and that's why we're examining what's going on in the temporary foreign worker program to make sure that it's doing just that, providing temporary foreign workers when a firm cannot fill that role with a Canadian. But we also heard from her no timeline on when they are going to report back on this report. Certainly the opposition is going to be asking for more details and about the need for changes in this area. And of course, later today, we're going to hear a lot more about it when we see this press conference from out west from the mining sector. Amanda Pfeffer in Ottawa. Now, Amanda is talking about that court case in British Columbia we mentioned at the top of the hour. It's about workers at a mine near Tumbler Ridge, BC. Two labor unions say a mining company passed over Canadians in favor of Chinese workers. They're challenging the work permits that allowed the workers from China into Canada. Dan Burrett has more from Vancouver.
Well, the International Union of Operating Engineers and the Construction and Specialized Workers Union argued that HD Mining hired 201 temporary foreign workers from China for jobs Canadians could have easily filled. The unions have claimed HD rejected hundreds, in fact 300 Canadian applications. Some of those with exemplary qualifications, according to the union. Some of them, the union, in fact, fought for and won the right to look at those applications, and saying that some of those applicants on their resumes had more than 30 years of experience in underground mining, some of them 20 years experience, others with plenty of management experience. What they hope now is that this case will, and this judicial review will force changes to the temporary foreign worker program to make sure that Canadians get first crack at these jobs. Now, HD Mining has said that no other mine in Canada is going to use a method it plans to employ at its mine in Tumbler Ridge in central BC near the Alberta border. It's a technique called longwall mining. It's when coal is extracted along a wall in a long strip and then put on a conveyor belt. HD has stressed it looked for qualified Canadians but says it simply came up short. In fact, the company sent about 16 of the Chinese miners it hired as temporary foreign workers back to China because of all this. The federal government says it is going to review the program. And all of this comes after CBC News reported that RBC planned to replace some of its workers in Canada with temporary foreign workers. That's a charge the bank has vehemently denied. Dan Burrett, CBC News, Vancouver.
And we want to know what you have to say about this story. Should the government protect Canadian jobs from being given to foreign workers? Email us at pov@cbc.ca, and we'll look at some of your comments later this hour.